Edna Woolman Chase became editor-in-chief of Vogue in 1914, she not only changed the magazine, but impacted the whole world of fashion. Through exploring new ways to market fashion and by implementing methods to exchange fashion information, Chase and her employer, Condé Nast, brought the world of high fashion to all social classes. Through Vogue, Chase helped women from all walks of life encounter a whole new world of styles, ideas, and trends in fashion and culture. Under Edna's leadership, Vogue magazine went from a fluffy journal for the social elite to a must-have magazine reporting on all the trends in fashion and culture. Vogue was created as a journal for the social elite in 1892. It was created by Arthur Baldwin Turner to unite the social elite who wanted luxury goods with those who produced them. Turner was an attorney and publisher who wanted a journal of society, fashion, and the ceremonial side of life. The first issue of Vogue contained fashion articles for men and women and was filled with articles on social etiquette and reviews of plays, books, music, and fashion in its early years. Condé Nast bought Vogue in 1909 and started to make big changes. Nast made the magazine monthly instead of weekly. He increased the page count from 30 to 100, making it thicker and more substantial looking. He raised the price from 10 cents to 15 cents and changed the magazine to focus mainly on women. In his first year of ownership, Nast doubled subscriptions and tripled newsstand sales. He hired the world's best photographers, writers, and illustrators, and because he wanted the magazine to be the highest quality, Nast bought a printing company in Greenwich, Connecticut. In 1914, he hired Edna Woolman Chase, who, as editor-in-chief, would continue to build a must-have fashion magazine that all women could enjoy. Condé Nast explored new ways to market fashion through hiring the highest quality creative staff, focusing more on women and upgrading the print quality of Vogue. Edna Woolman Chase continued to explore new ways to market fashion when she became editor of Vogue. Edna started at Vogue in 1895 in the circulation department. She became editor-in-chief in 1914. Chase didn't come from a wealthy family, but she took her job and the subject matter of Vogue very seriously. She imposed a strict dress code for magazine workers when she became editor, and insisted the fashion writing had to be detailed and thorough. Vogue also published patterns to show detail and allow less wealthy women to sew their clothes. Under Chase's leadership, the first international versions of Vogue were started. British Vogue started in 1912. The Spanish version began in 1918, and French Vogue started in 1920. German Vogue started up in 1928, even though Edna opposed it because she didn't think German women had good taste in fashion. International versions of Vogue helped it to become more popular in the world. In 1930, Chase steered the founding of the fashion group International. FGI was founded as a non-profit professional organization to benefit the fashion industry. 17 women formed it at a luncheon in New York City. Its mission was, and is, to be the preeminent authority on the business of fashion and design and to help its members be more effective in their careers. It organizes and sponsors national and international educational seminars and promotes the study of fashion by awarding scholarships, providing internships, and by offering career counseling. By starting the FGI, Chase created new and innovative methods to exchange information in the fashion world. During World War II, Edna Chase explored uncharted territory when she held the first charity fashion show. This exploration ended up having a big impact on American fashion. The show was in August of 1914 and was a response to a possible shutdown in French couture. During the war, there was less material for the designers to work with. French couture workshops were losing workers to the Army or the Red Cross. French workshops started making bandages and uniforms instead of couture. The show benefited women and children affected by the war. Condé Nast told Edna that she would never get really smart women interested in it. He still sponsored the event, though. Up until the charity show done under Chase, haute couture styles were presented as a collection, shown at an exclusive gathering of potential designers. Designers were men and their design houses were in Paris, France. Chase's show features all American designers and the styles were presented to men and women, like fashion shows put on today. The show was a big success and a whole issue of Vogue was devoted to it after the event. The show and its feature in Vogue introduced society to new designers, showing society that they didn't need French designers. As a result of Chase's exploration, American designers started to become more sought after. The first cover of Vogue featuring a color photograph helped women of that time to explore a new self-image and change the way women were perceived at that time. Vogue was one of the first magazines to publish a color photograph on its cover. In the 1930s, new fabrics were introduced that body-hugging bathing suits that didn't lose their shape in the water could be made. Edna Chase hired Edward Steichen to photograph a woman in one of these new bathing suits in July 1932. Cover of the tanned woman in the bathing suit holding a beach ball became the symbol of a new type of athletic, active, healthy woman. Cover got more attention for the magazine and is a good example of Vogue taking what used to be found shocking in culture and by featuring it, made it something women in all social classes wanted to be. When Vogue started featuring celebrities, it changed the way fashion was marketed and made a big impact on 20th century pop culture. Before Vogue did it, no other magazine was devoted to celebrities. Vogue started exploring its readers' reaction to celebrities by featuring the British royal family in its pages, showing the clothing worn by countesses, duchesses, and princesses. In 1942, photographer John Rawling suggested having celebrities do cameo appearances in Vogue in exchange for publicity, and Edna liked the idea. Vogue then started putting Hollywood personalities on the cover and featuring society figures and movie stars wearing new couture designs. Vogue's readers responded well to this, and using celebrities helped to broaden Vogue's readership to all social classes. This was the start of our modern-day celebrity-saturated fashion industry. Because of Condé Nast and Chase's high standards, Vogue had a huge influence on the artistic and journalistic world and on design, photography, illustration, and editorial content. Vogue inspired endless exchanges of ideas in the creative world. It always reflected new trends and showed them on the cover either with illustrations or later with photographs, showing anything happening in style and culture. The February 1938 issue of Vogue was an issue of fashion photos taken against American backgrounds. It was Edna's idea to promote the beauty and the dimensions of this country. It was a huge success and was repeated every year for decades. Vogue's competition with Harper's Bazaar in the early 1900s created big innovations in page design, cover illustrations, and photography. In general, it raised the level of graphic journalism going forward. Because Vogue hired the best photographers, their photography styles made history and also changed how women and their place in society were viewed. Vogue became a publishing icon that had a lasting impact on women and culture in general. From the beginning, Vogue had a major edge over other magazines because it had great social connections and exclusive access to prominent families in America and later in other countries. Vogue was able to show the interiors of homes, the parties, and gowns brought back from Europe of women in prominent families. Under Edna Chase, Vogue started featuring first ladies starting with the wife of President Herbert Hoover in 1920. Whenever art or music or new technology was introduced in the world, Vogue reflected it. Vogue became known as a useful publication that was up to the minute on everything, and it was a must-have for any women who wanted to be in style. Vogue reflected all the changes that were taking place in society and supported the cause of liberated women in the modern world. For example, it encouraged second marriages by publishing a spread entitled An Ideal Gown for a Second Marriage, even though second marriages and divorce were frowned on during the 1920s. In its first 50 years, Vogue championed beauty, luxury, talent, and fashion, which appealed to both the upper class and women who aspired to be upper class. Vogue inspired women to define themselves in a new and different ways by helping them to encounter new ideas about fashion, technology, culture, and society in general. Edna Woman Chase retired in 1952 at the age of 75, but her winning formula for marketing fashion in Vogue's pages and in the world keeps going. It emphasizes the modern woman by continuing to feature first ladies, all the way up to Michelle Obama. In fact, in 1998, Hillary Clinton was the first Lady to be featured on Vogue's cover. Vogue still continues to have a big influence on pop culture that started under Chase, as Diana Vreeland, editor from 1963 to 1971, filled its pages with famous pop artists such as Andy Warhol, Barbra Streisand, and Mick Jagger. Now, Vogue is featuring YouTubers and Comic-Con stars in its issues as well. Also, Edna's Fashion Group International's membership has grown to over 5,000 members all over the world and continues to influence the world of fashion and the exchange of fashion information through its members. In the 57 years that she was at Vogue magazine, Edna Chase and Condé Nast saw and contributed to the development of Vogue magazine and American fashion. Through their exploration of new innovations like color photography, new ideas like charity fashion shows, and new ways to market fashion like using Hollywood celebrities, they made fashion accessible to all women. Their magazine continually encouraged women to explore a new self-image and continue to shape the roles of women in culture through this exploration. They shaped fashion history, and their magazine recorded every step of their journey. Today, Vogue still is the magazine for all women who want to know what products to buy, what to watch, what to eat, and how to live. It inspires us to dress better and live better. It is still shocking and always makes us think. It is still the magazine that defines the culture of fashion. Edna Woman Chase wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Vogue.